incomes that pay a higher proportion of income from drinking water or for wastewater services. And I would like to invite you, your community, and your neighbors out on Wednesday, February 15th, if you may need some help with some of your utility bills. You must meet some of the eligibility criteria, and they're asking you to bring a picture ID, your electric bill, your proof of household income, as well as proof of legal residency in the U.S. So that will be on Wednesday, February 15th at the Family Action Center, and there are some handouts back there that you can share with your neighbors or community. Okay? Next is, how do you access some of these services? So we have the contact information of how to submit your application, our phone number. So if you would like to write that down, please feel free to do so. We do accept applications if mail-in, but you can also apply online. Of course, online is usually a little bit more helpful. You don't have to worry about envelopes, stamps, and all that other jazz, but there is a resource available to you online, or you can mail in your application. Next, let's talk about some of the housing program services that the City of Fort Worth Neighborhood Services offers to priority repair, to lead safe, to weatherization, and then our home buyer assistance program. So with our priority repair program, here's just a few of the examples that this program covers. Each program does have its own eligibility requirements, and if you need additional information, I'll be more than happy to talk to you after the presentation today. But these are just some examples of helping with roof repairs, air conditioning, even some of the plumbing issues. In order to be eligible, you have to be a resident within the City of Fort Worth, be able to complete a home inspection. But these are just some of the repairs for the priority repair program. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Is this slideshow available to us?
I can hear
The
that.
slideshow, is it available? To
Yes,
us?
I can email you the presentation, so just make sure you put your email down, and I'll be more than happy to send this presentation to you.
You mind if we take pictures of the
No,
slide?
you can certainly do that. You can certainly do that. And then the next program is Lead Safe. This is really for those that are at risk, for children or our seniors. You would be surprised of how much lead may be in homes, because sometimes you can't actually see it, right? So this program helps address lead-based paint, and this is a program that can help remove lead from your home, especially homes that were built before 1978. So that's another program available to you. Our next program is the Weatherization Assistance Program. It helps reduce energy costs for low-income families, particularly those that are elderly, people with disabilities, and children. And it helps provide energy efficiency measures. And just some of the examples I know we have here with the improved efficiency, but it also helps with some of your appliances, such as gas stoves, gas water heater, and proper ventilation. And then they also perform an energy audit, a scheduled energy improvements, and final inspection. So this is very helpful to make sure like your windows are sealed and things like that to ensure it's energy efficient. Again, this is also eligibility requirements. The next one is the Home Buyer Assistance Program. They provide mortgage assistance for first-time home buyers. However, it's a caveat that you must not have owned a home in the last 3 years. So say, for example, last time you owned a home was 2015 and you've been renting since now, you will be eligible for this particular program. Of course, there's other various eligibility requirements, but it doesn't mean you have never owned a home before. It just could not have been in the last 3 years. And they provide up to $20,000 for homes in Fort Worth. You must be a resident in Fort Worth. And say, for example, you have multiple properties of homes. This is only eligible for the home that you reside in Fort Worth, not multiple properties, just that one home that you reside in. So you can either use the full $20,000 for mortgage assistance, or use up to 3% of the loan amount for closing costs and things of that nature, okay? So So I think that's it for that one. And these are also, phone numbers and, website to the various programs, that you can check out, whether it be priority repair, weatherization, home buyer, or let's say. But again, as I mentioned, I'll be more than happy, to send the presentation, so I'll get out your way, just since you want to take a couple pictures. Okay. All right, so these are the services that we just wanted to share with you, with the city of Fort Worth. But next, I would like to introduce Ricardo with the Tarrant Appraisal District to talk to you about the homestead exemption process and appraisal process. Welcome, Ricardo.
Welcome everybody, thank you for coming out. My name is Ricardo Galera. I'm our communications officer at Tarrant Appraisal District. Been there about 7 years, started off as a residential appraiser and then shifted over to our administration department to do community events, communications, branding, marketing, all those things you can kind of put under communications. This is kind of our little snapshot of Tarrant County. That's what our point is. We're not Tarrant County Appraisal District, Tarrant Appraisal District. And so we'll cover all of Tarrant County when it comes to appraisal for value of property and also for exemptions, and we'll get into that here. And so a little history about us. When I created the slideshow, it seemed like a good idea to make it each bullet point pop up one at a time. So bear with us when I talk to them, and we're going to make them kind of come up one by one. But hers was better when it all came up at once, so we're going to improve that. But quick history, we are a political subdivision of the state of Texas. Basically, the misconception out there might be that we are the city, or we are a tax office, or we are this or that. We're not. We're a special district made by the state of Texas in 1980. When that became effective, we're told that we're governed by the Texas Property Tax Code. So when you guys have questions, or you guys give us a call, or anybody does and says, hey, could you do this one time? Sometimes it's not as possible just because we have to follow this property tax code. Of course, like any law, any code, any city enforcement thing that you might think of, we have to do it or there is penalty to it. So just something to keep in mind when you call and we're trying to provide the best customer service we can. We are kind of following just that book. Into our responsibilities, this is one thing we love to share with y'all so that we can get rid of some of the confusions that we may have or that they might have out there. We do local property tax appraisal. That is our main goal, our main purpose, why we were created. It's not to essentially tax you, or it's not to collect money or anything like that. Our job each year as of January 1st is to come up with a property tax appraisal, a value for your property, whether it's residential or commercial. We also do what they call administering tax exemptions. So a tax exemption might be like a homestead, an over 65, a disabled persons. Again, like she was mentioning, the city of Fort Worth, you have to have eligibility requirements. Once you hit those, you apply to them, you send them in, we review them, and we can put it on your account. We'll also do, our big thing is to have a certified appraisal roll by July 25th. Basically, the cities, any taxing entities, they'll need a roll with the values in their jurisdiction so that they can then do their tax bill so that they can send that tax bill to you to pay it. And then we'll also do services to 73, so you can kind of say those are our customers in a way along with you guys, is that we got to do all this for 73 taxing entities, along with Fort Worth has 800,000, I think, on population. We're getting close to 1 million, so along with trying to help as many 800,000 people as we can. And that's usually with the staff of about 40 appraisers in each department. Let's talk about exemptions, because that's most of the time what people want to know. How can they save money? What can assist them when it comes to value, to taxes? Most of our exemptions are going to be, the big one is the homestead exemption. HS, you can see it on your value notice sometimes under that. A lot of times online you'll see it like that. We do provide that in English and Spanish on our website and forms. A lot of the times you'll just go to our website, go to forms, scroll down to homestead exemption, you'll see English and you'll see Spanish. So share that with your friends or family, anybody that thinks, well, I can't do it in English. Well, there is a Spanish one. We're working on a Vietnamese one that will be later this year. The whole point is to reduce your total amount of the property, because it's going to be property value times the tax rate equals your tax bill. So we want to lower that taxable amount with your homestead. It also establishes an appraisal limitation. Your appraisal limitation can only go up by 10% each year with the homestead. So again, your market value will show that it's going up by what houses are selling for, but when they tax you on that appraised value, that will only go up 10% with the homestead. And then the last one, that's kind of a big deal. Yes,
I
ma'am?
have a question, how come they went up 24,000 on my house?
So that could be about your property value, 10% of your property value. It could be that your market value went up by so much, and the math of 10% would be 24,000 for it going up.
And how often can they do that? Can they do
So,
that every year? or
Yeah,
how
the state of Texas requires that you be appraised every year, and so every year when they look at the values of the neighborhood, that's when you're gonna get a property value.
Is there any way you can appeal what they're doing?
So
to
that's gonna
keep
come up in
your-
the slides,
Okay,
and, but it's gonna be a little different, maybe not say appeal to the state of Texas, but I can show you how you can appeal your property value going up for sure.
Okay, well, I tried to find it last year, but they said,
Yeah.
if you don't have pictures of proof, you can't do that.
Yeah, I'll show you that when we get to it, and then we can talk about it, we can help you out with that. Yes, ma'am?
So we had applied for an exemption on a home, but they put it on the wrong house. So they have the exemption on the rental property instead of where we are now, which is where we need it to be. Cause it makes sense, seem like it'll save more money.
Yes. That-
So what do I need to do, just?
So you'll need to come up, do you have a Texas ID or license
Mhm.
that has the address that you primarily reside in?
Yes.
Okay, if that's the house that you want the exemption on, there could have been an issue maybe where it got mailed from, maybe somebody made an assumption because something didn't line up for some
Mhm.
reason, they picked the wrong one. If you just come visit us in person, show your ID and say, hey, I need to correct the homestead to go to this property, it was somehow wrongly put on that, they'll ask for your ID or your license, they'll see that that's it, and they can correct it, and then you can ask them about maybe going back a year or whenever that exemption was wrongly placed.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
trying to get it.
Yeah, just come visit us, there's customer service right up front, and we can fix it in person.
Okay, and that's over here off of Trinity?
Off of Hanley, Edderville
Okay,
Road.
yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then, see if we got anything else on exemptions. We talked about establishing kind of that ceiling, that 10%. With the over 65 though, there's another ceiling that can be established, is the year you turn 65, a lot of times that will be the highest the tax rates could be for the rest of the time you're in that property. So you want to get that ceiling there, because even though the entities might raise their taxes, they'll say, hey, when she was 65 or he was 65, that was at that rate, it can't go any higher than that. If they lower it under that ceiling, then they'll bring it down to match that. But again, if they go back up, it won't go higher to your original ones. Legislation, some things going on down in Austin, they meet every 2 years. They're talking about increasing maybe the homestead value amount for a tax entity. So instead of just a value off of 40,000, maybe it's 80,000 or 90,000. So that would help kind of lower your total amount. They're also talking about decreasing the cap of 10% down to 5%. So that would help, because if your property goes up by 10%, easy math, is your house is valued at 200,000 and it goes up by 20,000. Well, this time, if it's only 5%, maybe it only go up by 10,000 or something like that. So those are some changes. They may or may not happen. They're talking about them. So just to kind of give you an update down there. Yes, ma'am.
So if you're over 65, you can use that to reduce the
The total amount. Yes,
total
ma'am.
amount. Can you use that on top of being a veteran, or?
So you can stack some exemptions. So homestead over 65, and a lot of times veteran do line up where you can stack them. What the customer service rep will tell you is, if one can't be stacked, they'll guide you to which one is the best one to use. But you can stack some of the exemptions. Increase, decrease. I think we got that one. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this was a great example that somebody recommended to us at the last session we did. Let's see it on paper. Let's get an idea. So here we got a homestead exemption that we're going to use. Most property values around 200,000 is pretty fair nowadays for a house if you're going to buy one. So let's go with that. This is a county, so Tarrant County. Picture that. This is going to be the city, Fort Worth, and that's going to be the school. Each of them might tax you. That's part of the tax bill. The exemption that the county gives is nothing. They're not required by law. They don't have to give one, I believe, so they don't provide one. The city does a 20% reduction on the total amount, and the school will provide $40,000 off your total amount. So if we take the $250,000, you're still there with the county, but with the city, you've gone down to $200,000, because that 20% is $50,000 off. And if you go to school, you're down to $210,000. So you're not really being taxed at your total amount, you're being taxed at a lower amount with that exemption. if you look at the tax rates, these are from the 2022 tax rates that were online. You take and you multiply the tax rate, of course, with the county, you're paying about $560, the full amount, no discount or anything. But with the city, you're only paying about $1,400. With the school, you're only paying about $2,600. They would have been higher, it probably would have been around, let's say, $1,800 and $2,800 or $3,000. I can show you a bigger difference when we keep going through them. So when we go to the homestead, now let's stack the over 65 like we were talking about. So everything looks the same, but we've added that over 65. The disabled person one also lines up the same as it. So you're gonna take, the county again won't provide anything. You guys want the county to provide something, talk to your local rep, tell them, hey, let's go to the county commissioner's court, let's get our voice heard, let's see if Tarrant County can provide some kind of exemption to help us. But that's a whole different story that does not involve us. But we'll go to the city and we'll do 20%, and then the over 65 will provide another $40,000 off. So that 250 turned into 160,000. You multiply it, now you're only paying 1,140. From that previous slide, it's about $400 off, I think. Then we'll go from the school, you get 40,000 off, plus another 10,000 off, so you get 200. By the tax rate, you got 2,500. And so you're seeing that discount kind of chip away little by little. If we end it with, let's see, total amounts. Well, you got a value, you got a property that you primarily reside in it, that's your homesteaded property, but you didn't apply for an exemption, you don't care about it, whatever you couldn't, whatever the reason is, you're gonna pay about $6,498 in taxes. Now, if you take the homestead, you're probably gonna be down around the 5,630 range. Now you stack that over 65 on it, / disabled persons maybe, you're only paying about 4,900. So you're saving about $1,500 to $1,800 on the taxes. That helps a lot. That can pay for tires. That's a mortgage payment. That can be a repair at the house. So the exemptions really help. We can continue to push them. We can do presentations. We can educate people. But that's when we need you guys to engage with us. Come apply, come give it a shot. Our ladies up front have all the time in the world to walk you through it, help you fill it out. They can't tell you what to do, but they can explain what everything is, and then you guys make the correct choice. And let's just make it happen, and you'll get the discounts. We'll go to the next one. This is another big thing that was recommended. There's scams going on. It depends on what kind of business you want to run, but a lot of people are charging for you to apply for a homestead. All homesteads, any exemption, anything you want to apply with the district is free. And really, if you want to get to the bottom of it, you've paid your taxes, which funded public services. You guys already done all the work with us. Come and reap your benefit. Come into the air-conditioned building. Come and sit down in the chair. Get called up. We'll print it out for you. We'll provide the pins. Work it out. You don't have to pay for any of that. The charges that for the service, they're going to do a flat fee of maybe $40, $50. They'll say, hey, fill this out, $50. You're going to think, oh, they're doing it for me. Well, that's $50 that you could have saved. They also might take half of any refunds. If they find out that you haven't applied for it and they can go back a couple of years, let's say that they say this exemption should have been on the last 2 years, or let's say you turned 65 10 years ago and they figure out a way to go back a couple of years. Well, you just saved $3,000. Well, they're going to take half of that and then you only get half. The other issue with that is they might also change a mailing address so that you no longer get certain information from us and it'll go straight to them, or the tax office will go straight to them, and then all of a sudden they'll change it in the middle of the year and you never knew what happened with those documents you missed. So just remember, if there's anything with property appraisal that you want to deal with, it's free with us. Come talk to us. We can knock it out. We do not charge. Our website will have everything you need to download or print to bring with you if you want to get ahead of the game. The good thing is most of the time with the exemptions, you just need to sign up once and it should stick with you. The few exceptions are going to be over the age of 65, about every 10 years, or if they feel like you're like 85, maybe every 5 years, they might check in with you just to make sure that you're still able to get that exemption. Along with the disabled person one, as long as you got the paperwork from the state of Texas, the veteran services, they'll just check in maybe every 5 to 10 years and say, hey, is everything good? You still receiving it? Great. Then you let us know, actually, my disabled person exemption or my disability rating or my veteran rating went up. Then you let us know, bring that paperwork, and we can make that exemption gain a little more to it. Then we'll go to our next slide, which should be about, we talked about that one, and the account changes. Unless for some reason the account changes out of the ordinary, which is a good point. Like, let's say you're getting ready to get your affairs in order and you're gonna put it into a trust or into your child's name. It will cause the county clerk to change the deed. The deed change gets sent to us. Then we're wondering who owns it now, what's going on. We might reach out to you and say, hey, can you reapply? Are you still the owner? Let's make sure everything's straight so you keep getting this exemption. Okay, a lot of writing on here, but this is basically the tax calendar. Kind of the main thing to focus is up here. The appraisal phrase is where we're at right now with Tarrant Appraisal District. We're gonna value your property right now. We've done a lot of work in the last 3 to 4 months to go out in the field, measure houses by hand, check out the changes by, see them themselves. We'll see it from the street, we'll see it from the driveway. If you welcome us onto your property, we'll see it. If we're not welcome, we'll see it from the street, or we also have aerial photography. But that's where we're at right now, where we're coming up with the value. We're looking at house sales, we're looking at what's going on. Then we'll get to the equalization phase. So once we send out that appraisal value and you disagree with the value, you can protest. That's gonna be this area right here where we're gonna have the Tarrant Appraisal Review Board, which is who you file a protest with, formal protest, and we have all the hearings going on. And so you might get your value lowered, you may not. Yes, ma'am.
So you go into the office too to do that, or do you have to do it online?
Yes, ma'am. So we do have an online service that if you create an account through our website, and right now we're actually doing a big upgrade, so it's really exciting, so we can have it ready for that part. But you can just log into your account, say you disagree with the value, the computer will look at the cells, offer you a new value, you put in a value, and then let's see what we can come up with.
Do you have to have all these numbers from last year and all that? Because that was the problem I had. I didn't know the figures to put in for the last time.
So it shouldn't be online, it should just be whatever value you think it's worth online. Now, if you go in person to do an informal meeting with an appraiser, they're gonna wanna see evidence on why you think the value is where you want it to be. That's where you want pictures, estimates of repair costs and things like that. Now, when you go into the formal appraisal review board hearing, they're definitely gonna want evidence, and they're gonna wanna hear your story, and that's when they'll decide a value. And then we'll go on to the assessment phase. That's when we finally certify that roll we talked about earlier. We send it to the taxing entities. They're gonna receive it. They're gonna start looking at the values of properties / what's the taxing entity tax rate we want, so that we can create a budget for ourselves and whoever else we need to fund. Then that's when the collection phase, which we just ended because January 31st taxes become delinquent, that's when the tax office is gonna send out that bill and say, hey, you owe taxes, you have in this date to pay it. That's when it essentially is in their hands. If you have an issue with the taxes, tax payments, they offer payment plans. That's Wendy Burgess, your tax assessor collector. Her programs, her office, they provide a lot of opportunity for you to try to work it out. So if you call us, we're gonna be able to say, hey, your value was done back in this time range. We're already past this range also for a protest. You can do a late protest, but there's some hoops you gotta kind of work through. But if you go ahead and need to take care of your taxes, we're gonna ask you to go ahead and call the tax office and work out some kind of deal with them so that you can kind of keep moving forward. And then you got the delinquent collection, that's gonna be all her office. Once you're past that, there's fees and all that starts kicking in. We'll go on to the next one. All right, this is kind of the fun part. We're going through a community role. So each taxing unit sets its own tax rate. So we're, again, providing that value so they can set their tax rate. So they can build buildings like this, provide a new pool, provide a new building for the community, a new field, Zebos Park, it needs to be redone because it's going from a golf course to a park, things like that. The more revenue that they kind of need, the idea is to believe that it's going to pay for maybe more fire departments to help out, or whatever it is that they're looking to improve. If it's a new police force that maybe is their new 911 call center when asking for something different than violence, that's one thing to consider too. And then as of course, we need to fix some roads, some bridges and things like that. Once we get a value again and they calculate it, again, that's kind of that next step. When you guys call us and say, hey, these taxes are going on, where are they going? This is what we're going to mention. We're going to say, hey, it's going to the community with the services you use, what you use every day, or whether it's once a week when you go to the community center. We'll go to the next one. So here's our location, our hours will pop up on the bottom. This is where you want to come visit us. This is where we officially are. It's actually the center point of Tarrant County, so no matter where you're located, it can be fair to everybody where it's kind of far or close, but it's all there in the middle. Come to us anytime, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Then this address right here will take you to it. You can go from 121, you can go from 30, or you can go from 820. So we're kind of in that sweet spot in the middle. And so come visit us. That's our building. Remember that look. Some people kind of get thrown off. There are other places, like we share names, you know, with Tarrant area, Tarrant County, Tarrant region. We're just going to be there at Tarrant Appraisal District. Okay, this is what I want to end with a little bit with the process, because this has to do with us, but it's taken it to that next step, which is a separate entity. They're called the Tarrant Appraisal Review Board. If you question our value and you're like, hey, I think the value should be different, that's totally fine. Always remember that Tarrant Appraisal District's value is an opinion. Any appraisal that's done is somebody's appraisal, their opinion of the appraisal of that property, their opinion of value. So nobody has a perfect value. There could be an opinion left, right, up, down. You disagree with it, you have the right to protest. Protesting is easy and free. We say it like that because all you gotta do is fill out the form or go to our online website service, create your account, get in, and you simply click a couple buttons and you've online protested and submitted it. So you don't have to go in person anymore. Now, when you protest, they're gonna set up a date. You can do online, which they'll do some kind of webcam, or they'll do a phone call, or you can go in person and do a formal meeting. It's free. It's just going to be your time and your effort that you put into it. You don't have to hire anybody, any of the scams that say, hey, I'm going to represent you for so much money, for so much that. You can do it yourself. Usually what the board tells people, and again, they're a separate entity, you know your home best, provide the best evidence, and they'll listen to you. Any questions on that one? Because again, I feel like that one's that separate entity, so we can't control what the value might be at the end of the hearing, but we can help you say, hey, we can't come up with an agreement, go file your protest and give it your best shot. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. We'll go into our recent accomplishments. This is a really fun part to explain to you guys. Our recent accomplishments is we've been considered some of the best companies to work for in 2022. That's really exciting because we try to hire our best employees and provide them the best workspace that they can get. Happy employee means maybe better work done for the community, better appraisal values, better research done, better customer service. So as long as the people are happy they're working, hopefully that rubs off onto you guys. And then we've also gotten the CEA award, IAAO. That one says that everything that is measured for an appraisal district to say you're accurate, you're on time, you're doing what you're supposed to do. We check mark that. Out of a score of 100, we got 100. We've done this multiple years in a row now, so that might bring a little piece to you. Even though we might have different opinions on the value of the property, you can at least hopefully sleep a better knowing we're doing it the correct way, that we're not cutting corners, or we're not using some system or method that nobody uses and it doesn't get approved. And then the last one is just a certificate of achievement for excellent financial reporting. For 31 years straight, our books have been checked internationally, or in the U.S. or nationally in the U.S., and our books are clean. They have not found anything suspicious. They do give that award internationally, so we are part of that group too. So if you have any questions on what's going on behind the doors, does anybody have this or that, everything gets checked every year, and all the budget's being used correctly. So those are some good awards we like to kind of push out there and give you all peace and comfort knowing we're doing everything correctly as best as we can. And then we'll end with a thank you, guys. All of our online services on our website, please visit. A little limited right now because of the improvement we're doing to upgrade. But once it's done, do whatever you want on that website. Give us a call. Let us know the ups and downs of it. And then, of course, we are all over online media. We have YouTube. We got Facebook, of course. We share things with other entities. You can watch this event, the previous events. We have helpful videos that shows you what it feels like or what it looks like to do a protest. What does an appraisal value notice look like? We'll also have LinkedIn. We post jobs, guys. We have jobs from top to bottom every year. Apply. Our benefits are great. And then, of course, we'll tweet updates like last week that, hey, we're closed because of the winter weather. Please come tomorrow. Oh, it happened again. We're closed with the winter weather. We'll see you half day Thursday. Okay, we'll see you at 12 on Thursday. Okay, Friday we're back to normal hours. So that way you don't waste a trip over to us if we're closed or something like that. But if there's anything else, any questions, clear as mud, or if
When do you expect your website to be up?
we're hoping March 1st because we want to allow people to have, and workers, but people to be able to process it through March and get used to it. so that by April, when the value notices come out, you're good to go.
Are you in trouble with it now, or can you still not access it all?
No, so you can access the website. All features are up for looking up property values, all of our data downloads, rates, forms, whatever you want to submit to Webmaster. All that's available. Your login for the account is what's being upgraded, so you won't be able to log in until we finish that upgrade.
And so we don't need an appointment to go and get that switched over, we just show up during.
Yes, ma'am, exactly. So no appointments. So anytime throughout the year that we're open officially 8 to 5, come on in. We have a lady that greets you. She'll sign you in. We'll get you to the right department. They'll call you up and we'll take care of you.
Okay, when you get that new website put up, do you have to do a new login thing, or can you use your old one?
So right now, the old ones are still in the system. That's what we're planning on using. If the upgrade makes us use it, once you try to use your old login, it will tell you that that's been moved on from, and then you'll be able to create your new one the same way. All right, if that's everything, I want to say thank you guys. Thank you to Shauna. We love this partnership with City of Fort Worth. Please share any of this information with your people. If you have a club or anything else that you're a part of, any other things, and you want to invite us out to talk, please let us know. I'm sure we'd love to do anything we can.
I think we're good. Any other questions for Tarrant Appraisal District by the City of Fort Worth? Well, thank you for coming here today. So just remember, this information does not leave with you, but you're gonna share it with a neighbor, you're gonna share it with your community member, you're gonna help the community out, right? She like, yeah, maybe not, I don't know. But
I got
seriously,
neighbors that don't like to talk.
that's
So-
all right.
So I ignore them too.
That's all right, that's all right, but you're here to get the information. So thank you for joining us today. If there's any other information that I can provide for you on behalf of the City of Fort Worth, please leave your contact information and I will contact you directly. All right, thank you, have a good evening.
Thanks.